10 Jewish prophets everyone should know. 1. Abraham. Abraham was the founding father of Judaism. God spoke to him about the promised land. Abraham is considered the patriarch of all Jews. He lived to the age of 175 years. When he worried about the future, God promised him a son. 2. Sarah. Sarah was Abraham's wife and a great prophetess. Abraham led the men, and Sarah shepherded the women. She was originally named Yiscah, but Abraham called her Sarai. This name means my superior and refers to her prophetic gift. Sarah was so holy that her bread would remain fresh all week. Her Shabbat candles would burn until the following Friday. 3. Miriam. Abraham and Sarah's descendants made their way to Egypt. They were enslaved by Pharaoh. Miriam was a little girl whose parents separated. They didn't want to produce more slaves for the Pharaoh, but Miriam prophesied that their child would lead the people out of slavery. She convinced them to remarry. From that union came Moses, the Redeemer of Israel. 4. Joshua. Joshua was Moses' devoted student. Moses was nearing the end of his 120 years on earth. God told him to select Joshua as a successor. Joshua faithfully led the people into the promised land. Through him, God orchestrated the miracle of the crumbling walls of Jericho. Joshua vanquished the heathen tribes of Canaan. 5. Deborah. Deborah the prophetess ruled Israel from under a date tree. She was wary of being alone with men. They came to seek her counsel, but Deborah didn't trust them. Deborah conveyed God's message to General Barak. He should go to war against the Canaanites. Barak agreed to go to war only if Deborah would go with him. She obliged, and the Israelites won. 6. Samuel. Samuel was raised by Eli, the high priest of the tabernacle. One night, God called to Samuel. Thus began a lifetime of devotion. Samuel would regularly travel throughout the land of Israel. He judged and guided the people. He also anointed several kings. Samuel wrote several books of the Hebrew Bible. 7. Abigail. Abigail was the wise and beautiful wife of Nabal. He was a rich but stingy man. Nabal refused to give provisions to King David. So Abigail gave David's men bread, wine, meat, and dried fruits. She convinced David not to kill her husband. 10 days later, Nabal died, and David and Abigail married. 8. Elijah. Elijah was a prophet who performed miracles. He wasn't afraid to admonish kings when they sinned. On Mount Carmel, Elijah showed the falseness of the Baal cult. He demonstrated the truth of Judaism to the people. Elijah ascended to heaven in a fiery chariot. 9. Elisha. Elisha was Elijah's loyal pupil. He made an unusual request. Before Elijah's ascent, he asked to be granted a double measure of the divine spirit of Elijah. This was granted, and Elisha went on to perform miracles. He sweetened bitter waters, cured leprosy, and even raised the dead. 10. Jeremiah. Jeremiah was reluctant to become a prophet. Indeed, he suffered for sharing uncomfortable truths. Jeremiah prophesied that Jerusalem would soon fall. He wrote the Book of Lamentations about it. It mourns the destruction yet to come. Jeremiah lived to see the destruction of Jerusalem.